You've got to be kidding me. After months of manipulation, after every claim of loyalty, after Seth Rollins calling himself the revolutionary and Paul Heyman preaching wisdom, Roman Reigns just walked back into that arena and reduced everyone in his path to children playing dress-up. And if you think you understand what happened, think again. Because the events that unfolded just 1 hour ago will completely shatter everything you thought you knew about the Bloodline, the Shield, and the entire WWE landscape. Paul Heyman's authority has been obliterated. Seth Rollins' carefully crafted ego might never recover. And the identity of the new Shield member is something that no one could have predicted. So devastating, so calculated, so utterly destructive that it will echo across WWE for years to come. The stage was set. The arena was buzzing. The air crackled with anticipation. Fans were expecting something big, but nobody, absolutely nobody, anticipated the spectacle that was about to unfold. Seth Rollins was in the ring, delivering one of his classic promos. He spoke with all the confidence of a man who believed he had outsmarted the tribal chief. Rollins was boasting about how he had rebuilt WWE in his image, how he had emerged as the revolutionary, the savior who had supposedly liberated the company from Roman's so-called tyranny. Every word dripped with arrogance. Every gesture broadcast his smug certainty. And then, he committed the first fatal error. He brought out Paul Heyman. The wise man walked down the ramp with a swagger that seemed oddly subdued, the betrayal of past months etched into his expression. But instead of defiance, Heyman seemed almost resigned, accepting that Roman's reign had passed him by. He took the microphone and began speaking, calling Roman a tyrant, a false god, someone who demanded worship rather than earning respect. The crowd erupted in a chorus of boos. Here was Heyman, the man who had built Roman's empire, publicly denouncing his former master. Every word was like fire to gasoline, fueling Seth Rollins' smug satisfaction. Rollins thought he had won. He put an arm around Heyman, basking in the illusion of untouchable dominance, convinced he had escaped Roman's shadow forever. The lights go out, and then it happened. The lights in the arena cut out. Darkness swallowed everything, and in those moments of uncertainty, the energy in the building hit a fever pitch. Confusion reigned. Commentary teams were audibly stunned, fumbling over their words. And then the sound hit. The iconic Shield theme music, but not the version anyone recognized. This remix was darker, heavier, more menacing than ever. The bass reverberated through the arena, shaking the very bones of the audience. Smoke began rolling down the entrance ramp, obscuring vision, but amplifying the sense of dread. Fans were on their feet, cell phones raised, flashlights waving wildly. The chaos was palpable. Seth Rollins' face transformed from smug confidence to pure terror in an instant. Paul Heyman looked as though he had seen a ghost. And then, through the smoke and the darkness, emerged the unmistakable figure of Roman Reigns. But he was not alone. Walking beside him, radiating equal ferocity, was someone who made perfect sense and absolutely no sense at the same time. Zilla Fatu, the Samoan werewolf, a destructive force who had terrorized audiences internationally, but had never before stepped into WWE's world stage in this way. The new Shield revealed Roman had recruited family, but not in the way anyone expected. This wasn't about simply re-establishing the Bloodline. No, this was a reclamation, a redefinition, a message to every competitor in WWE. The head of the table has returned, and he's bringing the most dangerous ally imaginable. Zilla Fatu, a powerhouse of unparalleled strength and agility, accompanied Roman in full tactical gear, black vests, black cargo pants, and militaristic boots. The Shield aesthetic had evolved into something more intimidating, more dangerous, more militarized than ever before. As the two men made their approach, their synchronization was terrifying. Roman's eyes locked on Seth Rollins like a predator zeroing in on wounded prey. Zilla Fatu cracked his knuckles and rolled his shoulders, radiating pure destruction. Seth attempted to retreat, searching for an escape route, but the ring had become a cage, a meticulously orchestrated trap. Heyman tried to flee as well, but there was nowhere to run. The trap springs Roman and Jacob split their positions strategically. Roman approached from the front, Jacob from the side. Seth Rollins was caught perfectly in the crossfire. He tried to negotiate, invoking their shared Shield history, their brotherhood, their past victories, but Roman's expression was unflinching, emotionless, and merciless. Then came 3 words that will be remembered forever. You chose wrong. The Superman punch landed with bone-crushing precision. Seth Rollins collapsed like a building succumbing to demolition. But the assault wasn't over. Roman hoisted Seth back to his feet, while Jacob executed a staggering headbutt that would have felled a bull. The precision, timing, and sheer brutality were cinematic in scale. Then, the double powerbomb, a move of such devastating force that the ring itself seemed to quake beneath it. Seth Rollins lay broken, utterly helpless, a visual testament to Roman's strategic genius and unrelenting dominance. Paul Heyman, the wise man, falls. As Seth lay shattered, Roman turned his attention to Paul Heyman. The wise man, once the architect of Roman's empire, was on his knees, begging for mercy, hands clasped, tears streaming down his face. He pleaded about loyalty, about coercion, about years of service. But the tribal chief was unmoved. Roman grabbed Heyman by the collar, bringing him eye to eye, and then flung him across the ring like a rag doll. Jacob Fatu stalked Heyman like a predator, and in a moment that will be replayed in highlight reels for decades, he executed a Samoan drop so vicious that the arena collectively gasped. Medical personnel rushed toward the ring, but the spectacle was complete. This was not merely punishment. This was a masterclass in psychological domination, an emphatic declaration that Roman Reigns had returned not to negotiate, but to annihilate opposition. The tribal chief speaks. Roman picked up a microphone, the weight of the moment palpable. Silence descended, broken only by the crowd's collective anticipation. Every word that followed was deliberate, authoritative, carved into the fabric of WWE history. You thought you could survive without me? You thought you could build your empire on my foundation? Seth, Paul, you forgot who the head of the table is. You forgot that the Shield wasn't just a faction. It was my vision, my brotherhood, my legacy, and you destroyed it. You betrayed it. You spat on everything we built. But here's the truth you forgot. The tribal chief doesn't lead one family. I am Samoan royalty. And when you wage war against a chief, he brings his entire tribe to your doorstep. Jacob Fatu isn't just my cousin. He's the enforcer of this new era. We are the new Shield. We are the new Bloodline. And we will demolish anyone who stood against me, anyone who doubted me, anyone who thought they could take what's mine. The mic hit the mat with a thunderous sound, echoing like a gunshot. Roman and Jacob raised their arms over the broken forms of Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman. The visual was cinematic, iconic, unforgettable, a moment destined for merchandise, posters, and video packages for decades.